Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the world of one of the Bible's most, intense prophets. And we're going to uncover a message of profound hope that's kind of hidden inside some pretty harsh warnings.
So let's explore this question together. We're talking about the prophecies of Ezekiel, a man with a message that was challenging, for sure, but also absolutely vital. We'll see how he diagnosed a deep, deep problem, offered a pretty revolutionary solution, and then painted this vision of hope that honestly still resonates like crazy today.
Okay, so to really get the hope that Ezekiel is offering, we first have to wrap our heads around the problem he was sent to address. And get this, he doesn't just give a list of broken rules. No. He frames the whole thing as this deeply emotional story, a story of a broken relationship.
And here's the crucial point. For Ezekiel, the nation's sin wasn't just, a simple mistake. It was a betrayal. He literally called it spiritual adultery. And that idea completely reframes sin, right? It's not just a transgression anymore. It's an act of profound unfaithfulness inside a sacred relationship.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the heart of the matter. Ezekiel uses this incredibly powerful metaphor. He says God found his people when they were helpless, like an abandoned baby. He cared for them, lavished love on them, and entered into this covenant, this sacred promise with them, kind of like a marriage. But what did they do in return? They chased after the gods and the political alliances of any other nation that happened to walk by, completely betraying that exclusive love.
And you have to understand, this betrayal wasn't just some abstract spiritual thing. It infected every single part of society. The sources talk about bloodshed, greed, and fraud just becoming normal. Because of this deep decay, God saw the nation as dross. You know that worthless gunk that rises to the surface when you heat up metal? And really, the only way to get rid of dross is with intense fire.
But then, right in the middle of this diagnosis of total national failure, Ezekiel introduces a truly revolutionary idea. It's an idea that shifts the focus completely. He brings in this principle of individual choice that would become one of the most important ideas in the entire Old Testament.
Now you have to understand just how groundbreaking this was. The common thinking at the time was, well, our parents sinned, so now we, the children, are paying the price. People felt totally trapped by the mistakes of past generations, but Ezekiel just steps in and shatters that whole idea. He declares that all the old excuses are over. Your family's past, it doesn't define your destiny. You, and you alone, are responsible for your choices.
And what's really cool is how clearly he lays out this new reality. He uses this example of fathers and sons. If a good, righteous man has a wicked son, that son is held accountable for his own evil. And on the flip side, if a wicked man has a righteous son, that son's goodness is his own. He won't be punished for his father's sins. It's like a clean slate for every single person.
So this principle, it cuts both ways. You can't just coast on your past good deeds and expect them to save you if you turn to wickedness now. But, and this is the amazing, hopeful part, if you turn away from a life of sin and choose to do what's right, your past will not be held against you. It's your heart right now, your actions today, that matter most.
And this leads us to the real purpose of Ezekiel's tough message. This whole idea of accountability, it isn't meant to be a hammer of condemnation. Not at all. It's meant to be a key, unlocking a door to show that there is always a way back.
This right here, this is the heart of God that Ezekiel reveals. All those terrifying prophecies, the warnings of fire and judgment, they were a desperate wake-up call. The goal was never just destruction for destruction's sake. The goal was and always is for people to just turn around and choose life.
So how does that actually work? Well, Ezekiel lays out this simple but incredibly profound two-step path that's available to literally everyone. First, you got to stop blaming your parents or your circumstances and take personal responsibility for your own stuff. And second, confess it and then actively turn away from it. It's this conscious decision to change your direction and return to God.
All of this, the diagnosis, the principle of responsibility, the invitation to return, it all builds to this one moment. One of the most stunning and hope-filled visions in the entire Bible, a vision that shows just how far God is willing to go to bring his people back to life.
So, Ezekiel has this vision. He's shown a valley just filled with dry, sun-bleached, scattered human bones. It is a picture of absolute death, total hopelessness. And this represents the state of the nation of Israel. They're in exile, they're shattered, spiritually dead. There is no human way they could ever come back from this. It's over.
But then, God commands the impossible.
You hear this rattling sound as bone starts finding its matching bone. Then tendons and flesh just miraculously appear on these skeletons, and skin covers the new bodies. But they're still just lifeless forms. Then, God commands His breath, His Spirit, to enter them, and they come to life, and they stand on their feet, a vast living army.
This vision is the ultimate promise. It's this declaration that what looks completely, irreversibly dead is never, ever a lost cause for God. He can take the driest bones, the most hopeless situations, the most broken lives, and breathe new life and new purpose into them. It was a promise of a new heart, a spiritual rebirth for everyone.
So here's the beautiful paradox of Ezekiel, right? The prophet of tough love was ultimately a messenger of the most radical kind of hope. His message shows us that facing the hard truth about our failures isn't meant to crush us. It's meant to open the door to a restoration we could never, ever achieve on our own. And it leaves us with this question: what seems dead and hopeless in our world, or maybe even in our own lives, that's simply waiting for a new breath of divine hope?